What if growing up wasn't inevitable, but like optional? Released in 2003, Peter Pan, that's directed by P.J. Hogan, arrived quietly compared to other fantasy films in the early 2000s that were released at the time. Unfortunately, that film didn't break box office records. For years, it lived in the shadow of Disney's animated classic that released many decades earlier. But now, 22 years later, many fans, critics, and movie lovers have reevaluated it. And what's with the verdict? Peter Pan isn't just underrated. It's one of the most faithful, emotionally rich, and visually beautiful adaptations of J.M. Barrie's story ever put on screen. Hey guys, my name is Nate Reviews, and today we're breaking down of why Peter Pan is a true modern classic, looking back at the cast, production, themes, and the legacy it has left behind. One of the biggest strengths of Peter Pan is how deeply he respects its source material. J.M. Barrie's Peter and Wendy is not just a children's story. It's a bittersweet tale about the fear of growing up, the pain of abandonment, and the childhood innocence versus adult responsibility. Director P.J. Logan lead on into this darker, more emotional interpretation instead of softening it. The film keeps Peter Pan's arrogance and cruelty when his initial conflict about growing up and never lands a place of wonder and danger. Unlike many adaptations that turn Peter Pan into a harmless mascot, the film portrays him as Barrie intended, a boy who refuses to grow up, not because it's fun, but because growing up really hurts. I gotta give credit to the cast, because it was perfectly balanced. Starting off with Jeremy Sumpter as the title character. He dives into what many fans consider the definitive live action of Peter Pan. His performance captures his Peter's charming confidence, his recklessness, and his emotional immaturity. This Peter Pan isn't sanitized. He's cocky, dismissive, and often cruel without realizing it. The moment Peter asks Wendy, "What are feelings?" perfectly sums up the character. I gotta give credit to Jeremy Sumpter. His Peter Pan is pretty great in live action. And it's just really amazing of how well he does that performance so well. Next up, Rachel Hurd Wood as Wendy Darling. She is like the heart of the movie. She's curious, intelligent, brave, torn between childhood wonder and adult responsibility. Unlike the other Wendys we've seen in some Peter Pan stuff, this version of Wendy isn't passive. She challenges Peter, she stands up to Captain Hook, and ultimately chooses growth, not because she wants to, but she understands she must. Because like many of us, we have to grow up sometimes on things, and it's pretty hard. Including myself. Her performance is really great. And speaking of which, both of these actors will return for a new movie, that's not Peter Pan, but something really new and different, so shout out for these actors returning. They're really great. Now comes my favorite. Jason Isaacs delivered one of the best dual performances in movie history. He plays both Captain Hook and Mr. Darling. As the villainous captain, he's menacing, tragically, and darkly hilarious. And as Mr. Darling, he has adult insecurity, fear of failure, and the pressures of responsibility. This dual casting reinforces one of the story's core themes. Peter Pan isn't just fighting pirates, he's running from adulthood. Hook isn't evil for the sake of it. He is terrified of time being forgotten and all things considered, like many of us adults are in a day. Props to Jason Isaacs for a depth and really of a great casting. I gotta appreciate everything. Speaking of the other cast members, Levine Sagler as Tinkerbell. She brings the jealousy, mischief, and the vulnerability like we see in the 1953 Peter Pan movie, but ramped it up to a new level. The cast they picked for the Lost Boys actually feel like children here, not comic relief props. And the Darling children feel very authentic and relatable. Each role feels perfectly cast. To fully appreciate Peter Pan, you have to understand how intentionally it was designed to feel like a storybook brought to life, not CGI. And I really like the production design they put for this movie. Like the landscape painting, the visuals, and Like, it looks realistic, like you are part of that story, and I love it. It's just pretty fantastic. Another great detail is use of color. The Darling home is warm and grounded. Neverland's vibrant but chaotic. Hook's world is darker, filled with red, blacks, and shadows. And this film bends practical sets, material paintings, and the CGI that was used at the time. And each of these CGIs is pretty great. Even if it's really old, I still enjoy it. And it's pretty fascinating of how it's shot and well crafted. Now let's talk about the score. James Newton Howard's score delivers the most fantastic music I've ever seen. It's not just the adventure music, but it's about the flying theme in the movie feels a little bit rushed and forced, but there's a hint of sadness beneath it. The pirate themes feels grand but tragic. Wendy's themes feel hopeful yet bittersweet. And the final act, when Wendy returns home, the movie does the most emotional heavy lifting. It doesn't tell you to be sad, but it lets you feel naturally. And the score, it doesn't just symbolize adventure. It underscores loss, nostalgia, and the passage of time. The music in the final scenes when Wendy returns home elevates the film from a fantasy to emotional story building, actually. It understands that Peter Pan is not just a happy story, but a beautiful one. This is where Peter Pan transforms from a good movie to a great one. It's about how children just want to just live their good childhood instead without the fear of growing up. Because sooner or later, people stop doing a lot of things. It's just pretty intense of how this movie is shot, and I just enjoy of how it's the acting and the production's done. The final farewell between Peter and Wendy isn't triumphant, it's honest. It's where Peter Pan truly shines of age. As a kid, it's about flying pirates. As an adult, it's about watching child slipping away. Fear of responsibility, choosing growth even when it hurts. Peter doesn't win, Peter doesn't stay, that's the point. And the film doesn't pretend to be growing up that easily. It says it's necessary with that final line, to live will be an awfully big adventure. Hits heavy harder to myself. At the time it came out, the film struggled to find its audience. But people at the time didn't notice me. I wasn't born around this movie came out. It came out a week before I was born. People at the time didn't know it, but hey, as the years come by, people start to re-enjoy it. Its faithfulness to J.M. Barrie's story, its mature themes and performances. It became a cult classic for many viewers. It's really the best live-action Peter Pan movie. And I agree with them on that. Unlike many modern adaptations, Peter Pan doesn't try to reinvent the story. It understands it. In an era we live in where reboots remove the emotional weight of this one. But unlike this one, it understands its audience, young and old. That's why 22 years later, it still is great. My last thoughts on the movie is that Peter Pan isn't just a movie you grow up with. It's a movie you grow into. It understands that childhood isn't meant to last forever, and that's what makes it precious. 22 years later, it still flies. This movie is not just nostalgia favorite, it's beautiful crafted, and honestly, the greatest adaptation I've seen. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoy this breakdown, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share your thoughts on the movie. I hope you guys have a good one, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.